Jeremy Ellis here, maker of rocksetter.com. I want to show you very quickly how to get started on nitros.io using the Phonegap Developer App and my GitHub site, PGB Mobile App Design. Here we go. So we've got to sign in. I'll just get this started. And here's the starting one. We always go to Open Dashboard. And in Nitros, I want to make a new box. This is a free account, and you get one box. A box is like a Linux computer. So we're going to do Node, but please note, you could do a PHP site. It would be an active website. I always tend to just call mine something silly. Now, here we want a GitHub repo, a repository. GitHub PGB Mobile. If you Google that, it should come up with my GitHub site. Here's what it has. It has a bunch of advanced stuff. It has a folder for not yet working, which is important, and then the www folder. It has this nitrosbox RC, which is an auto-activate things, and it has nitrous.js. Right here, if you copy that, it will pretty much copy the URL with .git on the end. So let's go back to the site. We've got Node clicked. I've got a name for it. I'm going to right click, paste, and it should see it's got the .git ending. So we create our box. It's quite quick. And what it's doing is it's making a Linux box with that GitHub repository already installed into the Linux box. Don't be freaked out by Linux. We're going to use 3 or 4 Linux commands, and then we're done with Linux. It's all going to be web page design and moving over to mobile app design. So here it is. There are those folders. There's the www folder. One thing to note is we need to pull this over and show hidden files. The reason we have to do that is nitrous box right there. The .nitrous box is a hidden file, and it needs to go into this main area here. There it is. And you can tell it's here by, I'm going to have to move this way up high. If I do a list command -la, there's one fancy Linux command. It shows you there's nitrous.nitrousbox RC. We need that to be activated so it can be run automatically. So change mod +x .ni tab. Spells it for you. It's very handy to use the tab button. There we go. I'm going to up arrow to my old command, and notice how it's now in green. It has a whole bunch of X's there, meaning it can be auto-activated next time we start the nitrous box. We're done with hidden files. So now we have 2 main commands, npm for Node Package Manager, install connect, which is a package which is needed, and up arrow gets it back again, Phonegap on the end of it. So it's npm install connect -phonegap, and I think we're pretty much done with the fancy Linux commands. So while that's installing, let me just show you what's here. In the www folder are 2 folders. One's called Web Basics, one's called Plugin Accelerometer. There's an index file. Let's have a look at the index file. It's web page design stuff. All these are links to that basic folder, which was right there, and the web page with the same name right there. So when we activate this, we should be able to see this index command, which will allow us to see a bunch of other basic web page stuff, how to do tables and lists, how to do forms, things like that. Connect-Phonegap is still installing, but that's it from the Linux point of view. So next, it looks like, oh, it's just installing stuff here. Now, while you're doing that, you could get your mobile device, whether it's iOS, iPad, iPhone, iPod, or whether it's Android or even Win 8, although I'm not that familiar with the Win 8. go to Phonegap Developer App. Here we go. The Phonegap Developer App. Install that. That allows us to look at these web pages basically on mobile devices to see if they're working. There we go. It's all done. So what we want to do is we want to exit our box, click on it, and restart the box. The reason to restart it is it's going to run a bunch of commands, which is basically node nitros.js, and it should activate our box. I'll give it a few seconds to get going, and pretty much we can load that on our mobile device and check out things. So back to the IDE, here we go, and this is where we're preview on port 3000. I'll give it just a second here to get done. And we should have, there's that index.html as a web page. So this is now, you've made a web browser in a couple of minutes, but it's more than just a web browser. It will allow this. And I can't do it right now here. I'll show you in a few minutes on the Phonegap Developer App. But if I click there, well, let's do it. Okay, so this is showing some fancy stuff that is working on my my phone, my Android phone. So I'm just clicking out of there. Let's go back. Let's just see what we've got here for Web Basics. Web Basics, this are typical web design stuff. Here's a link. Here's a button to a link. Here's a button to one of my pages. Here's an image. Here is an online image. There's a local image. And here's a YouTube video. And those will be able to work on your Android or iOS phone. Now, all of these things are ones that, while learning how to computer program, we can get working. So let's get back to Nitros here and have a look at some of these things. In the not yet working area, there's JavaScript files teaching you about 2D arrays, about error checking, about events, and these are things that students can go through, work on their own. Most of them have something to work with. Here's CSS, here's plugins. Those are the difference between web pages and your accelerometer, your camera, your all the fancy things on your phone. Then there's some animations, 3D images, Ajax, where we start getting into more advanced stuff where you have to have another Nitrous box running a PHP server. Here are the tons of plugins. And what students would do is they would just grab, so here in the JavaScript, we can just grab this entire folder and put it in the WW folder. So now JavaScript's activated. All those files in there are activated. If we go to the preview, these ones, I've got them working now. Let's go see. So this is some kind of 2D with instructions of what students should do. JavaScript arrays. Now let's go back. Errors. Here we have unclosed parentheses. When you click it, it should work. It should tell you something here, but it's not working at the moment. So a student has to go in and try to fix that. So it's real hands-on computer programming. For else, if we click that, it's saying if the age is 1, this person was a baby, but it's not making any comments here. So the students have to go in and figure out how to make if statements and for loops. Anyway, that's it for now. I'll show you on a mobile device in a few minutes. Okay, so here we're at the phone, the Google Play Store. There's Phonegap Developer App. I've already got it on my computer, on my cell phone. So we open it up. The biggest pain with the Phonegap Developer App is typing in the URL. It has to be the same URL as the preview. And you'll see it's LS16 and blah, 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 blah. So we connect and success. And there's the same page that we saw. Web Basics tables. So let's just go in and have a quick look at these. Web Basics, same kind of stuff. But this stuff is not that impressive unless you realize that. Let's check out the accelerometer. See what happened there? That dropped down. Let's try it again. You can't do this on a web page. That's because it's using a plugin. So here's the URL that Nitros made that was so important. Here's what looks like a web page, except you can't use these plugins on the web page. Here's another plugin. Here's a whole bunch more plugins. You need it on your Android device or your iPad. Works pretty much the same. The impressive thing with the iPad is you don't need to pay the $100 Apple developer fee just to see if your app works. And certificates on the iPad are a real pain. So here we are. Nitros took a few minutes to get going. You had to know a couple of Linux commands, ls-la command. You had to install, let's see where these node modules, connect and connect-phonegap. And that's it. Considering the problems that there are with learning Java or a whole bunch of other issues with mobile app design, this one, you use web design. You learn how to make forms, just regular checkboxes, radio buttons. You learn how to make tables. Here's a table. Right there's a table. Right here are ordered lists. And it's all set up for people to self-teach or a class to go through. There's always some person who's pretty good at computers who can learn these things. I haven't littered stuff with a whole bunch of comments because it does get more confusing with the comments. You just Google when you run into troubles with these. So there are links. There's an online image. Here's a local image, myimage1.ping. There's myimage1.ping. That's how it shows up. So good luck, computer programming. Yeah, Nitros, Phonegap Developer App, Android, iOS.